And welcome to another episode of A Real Dad's Lead. I'm your host, Dwayne Smith, and next to me is Mr. Matt Hamilton, your co-host. We apologize for not being around for a little while. We took a little sabbatical. I don't know if it was on purpose, but we had a lot of stuff going on family-wise, and then we had all the vacations and all the, the holidays, and we just haven't been around for a while. So I'm glad we're back. I'm glad we're back. How you been for these last several months?
I've been good. Yeah, I think overall it's been good.
Yeah.
Holidays are good but tiring. I'm excited about the new year.
Yeah. I am too. I'm excited about the new year. I know that both of us been kind of looking at other options financially for different jobs and things like that. So some training and all that kind of stuff been going on, and so hopefully we can get this thing pumping and we can generate some income that way, and it'd be just a little bit more, a little more often, I suppose.
Yeah.
But right now we are planning on dropping something once a week at least.
Yep.
Once a week at
Getting
least.
back into that groove.
We are, that's our New Year's resolution for all of you guys who are excited to see us back. But yeah, it's been fun. I got a new shirt, if you can see it. It's my Columbus Crew shirt. And
Champions.
It's got 3 stars because we just got our 3rd championship here in Columbus. So been exciting. This is a Christmas present from one of my sons, from Kyle actually. And on the back it has MLS Cup champions. And so I'm pretty pumped about that. That's why I said, I'm going to wear this one today. Along, of course, with my chosen hat. I'm always representing chosen. That's coming up.
I know. I'm super excited.
Did you see the trailer?
I did.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
And it makes me so excited that they're only halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Or
right.
Through the
Right.
Through the
series.
show. Yeah.
Through the series. So we've got, because they're doing basically coming up to, I think, the, what is the processional or with the leaves,
the triumphal
entry, and that next season's Holy Week, I think, and then crucifixion and resurrection,
and that's just so crazy, Like I feel like for this last essentially week and a half or 2 weeks of Jesus's life, they're going to spend 4 seasons on that. That's amazing,
right?
Really exciting, and I just wonder, do you know anything about where they're going to go after the resurrection? Are they gonna end with Pentecost, or
I don't know. Nope. I have no idea. But I know that they have talked about having other things that they're going to do. So if you guys have not seen the show The Chosen, it's one of my favorite TV shows. It has its own
second
app,
only to Perry Mason reruns. Is that right?
Perry Mason reruns. Yeah. That's true. You don't have to tell everybody, but super true. Sure, Perry Mason reruns and 1930s Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, interesting.
I
didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah. I'll have to show you afterwards when we're off air, so you can, because I know one of your sons likes Sherlock Holmes. And this is one of my favorite little things, but I can watch it over and over. There's only like 36 episodes, and I watch them over and over and over again.
So you've solved every case now. You know exactly what that.
Pretty much, yeah.
So how would you rank those 1 through 3?
As far
this is a Christian podcast.
As far as enjoyability or rewatchability, I think that's pretty tough. As far as impact, it's definitely Chosen number 1.
Okay.
Probably Perry Mason number 2, Sherlock Holmes number 3. As far as rewatchability,
what does that mean? Does that mean like
entertainment-wise?
Addictability? Is that what that means, or
what do you say? Say it again.
Addictability, like are you
addictability? Yeah. Well, so it really depends on what I'm doing. Okay. So the reason I like to watch Perry Mason reruns and the Sherlock Holmes reruns is because I've seen them all,
and it's
almost just like having background music. You know,
so you didn't have to be looking at the screen.
No,
you know what's happening on the screen just if you're listening to it.
Right. and it's something that I can listen to if I'm just doing something else, and I don't have to watch and pay attention to it. So I don't know if there's shows like that or music like that it's just I don't have to pay attention because
The Chosen is becoming like that for me. I'll hear it, and in a way, I've kind of always been like that. I don't know. That the visual and the audio connection for me, they tend to stay together. So if I hear The Chosen going on, I can picture what they're doing. At the same time, and I love that. I love being in that place.
Yeah, I do too.
Love The Chosen.
Yeah. So if you look it up. If you don't have it, the Chosen app, or right now it's on everything. So you can get it on really Prime, you can get it on Netflix.
So big, you can get it so successful.
It comes on the CW. Yeah, it's on
everything. So, how are they rolling it out? They're doing 2 episodes at a time?
The first one's 3 episodes.
3 episodes.
It's a little over 3 hours long.
Oh, wow. That's exciting
first theater
too.
Release.
Okay, so they're
doing 1, 2, and 3.
In the theater.
And
the next weekend.
The 2 weeks.
Oh, every 2 weeks. Okay, every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Another theater release.
Yeah. Next 3.
But it will be the next 3?
Yeah.
So 3.
Yeah, and
2.
Then 2.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's what they're planning
on
doing.
Okay, so then as soon as they air in the theaters, or maybe as soon as the next set airs in the theaters, is the previous set available for streaming?
I have not heard how they're going to roll that out, the streaming one, but I just know that's what they're doing for.
Okay, yeah, I'm really excited. I think that it is a fantastic, we could even branch this into our topic for today.
Yeah.
I think it is a fantastic tool for discipling, for mentoring other people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yes. And again, I know that there's some issues, like, there's some scenes that don't exactly line up with what Scripture says, or they take some, some liberty in adding some details, as you have to do whenever you're making a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you should read it alongside the Scripture.
Right.
But the power of the visual and the score itself, the music that they use, everything is just, I think it's life transforming.
Yeah, I do too. And it actually did. I mean, it gets me into my Bible more than before. Well, right now I'm in it a lot, doing like lots of different devotionals and doing some other studies that I'm doing. But there'll be times I'm like, I don't remember that in Scripture, and then I'd go in and look it up, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's one of those things that I didn't even realize that was Scripture, So, yeah. So I would encourage you, any of you guys listening or watching, to do that. So,
hands down.
Yep. So that brings us to a topic when you kind of introduced it a little bit on mentorship. So we are still working through the book, Stepping Up, called A Courageous Manhood by Dennis Rainey. And we left off on chapter 18.
We completed it, yeah.
Yeah, so we are coming back to chapter 19, which is Men Need Other Men.
That's correct.
And, it was short, sweet, to the point, but it made me think a little bit. I think Dennis started off with talking about, are there men in your life that besides your father, so they were saying besides your father, that have impacted you or encouraged you or have made a significant impact in your life. Yeah. And it was hard for me to come up with some, and I don't know about you. Was it difficult or?
It was difficult. I think that I was definitely thinking more along the lines of something intentional, that took place where I sought someone out or they sought me out, and it was like this. It occurred intentionally for a period of time.
Yeah.
And if that's the standard, I don't have much of that.
Yeah.
And my next thought was, man, that's really sad.
Yeah, right.
I'm almost 40 years old, you know, this March, and I don't think I've ever had something that intentional take place.
Yeah.
And to your point, what you were saying off air is that the fault kind of goes both ways. As Dennis says in the book, we should all have a mentor, but we should also be a mentor.
Yeah.
And so people should have sought us out, older men in the church, but we also should have sought them out.
Yeah.
So It's never too late.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the other thing that he mentioned. He said, I forget where the stat came from, but he said something along the lines of that the most impactful time of a man's life statistically is between the ages of 50 and 70.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's hope.
There's hope, that's, I'm right there. I'm just in the 50s, mid 50s right now. So, and he talked a little bit about some reasons why men don't look for people to mentor. And I identified with lots of them.
Why they don't seek to be mentored or to mentor other people. To
mentor other people. And some of those were time. You got other stuff. And it just, you have to sacrifice time in order to do it. Some of them were just, I don't feel adequate. I don't feel capable.
I have anything really of value to give.
And other things were, at least for me, some of it was just the more or less thinking of or looking at the stress it's going to add in my life. So it's kind of like most of the time you're looking at maybe this person needs a mentor, needs somebody, but I don't know if I want to be
you might think I feel like I could help him, but I just don't know if I
want to invest that much and
time and energy, not just physical energy, emotional energy.
Yeah. Because, generally they've got some issues that they're trying to work out. And it's a fault of my own at times,
but it's also understandable. I think there is some justification. There's only so much that a man can carry. We can't carry everyone's burdens. So we have to choose wisely. But if it's true that we should all be a mentor, maybe there's just some other things that we need to cut in order to help that person carry their burdens. Some things that we're doing in our life that won't have lasting generational impact. We set those aside so that we can invest in this particular man through whom there will be lasting generational impact. It's just a matter of priorities. Maybe that's part of what we should think about.
Right. Yeah. So I do know that as I'm older, that I have, I've done both. I've sought out older, wiser men, and then an older, wiser man also has sought me out. So those two people I generally have breakfast with on a regular basis or, semi-regular basis. And, it's made an impact, myself, I've gone through some struggles and still continue to go through struggles at times. And it's nice to have someone to pray with you and to do those kind of things. So, I think what was another episode that we did when we were talking about accountability. So the men that are helping me be accountable are older men. It's almost a mentor, mentee type thing, because they've kind of got it all together. They've been through it. They're grandparents now. I'm not there yet. So kind of things like that. So it's never too late. It's one thing I would take away from that chapter in the book. Another thing I would take away from that chapter was encouraging my kids to seek out mentorship, which is, I don't know, for those who are younger fathers, I'm not sure, and you're really trying to invest in your kids, if you are opposed to like having somebody else invest in them on a regular basis. I'm sure, it needs to be someone you trust, someone they trust, things like that. But I do think it would behoove us to
good word.
To allow them. Oh, thank you. If I say it, then behoove. No. For us to encourage our kids to seek out other men besides us, and I just think that would be beneficial to them.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. I think it's similar to teaching your kids how to choose good friends, because either way they're going to have friends, and as they grow older, no matter what, there will be other men that influence them. Yeah. So if you teach them to be intentional about who it is that they're letting influence their life, and to seek out those good friends and those mentoring relationships with men, they're going to be a lot more successful. Yeah. So I think it just needs to become a part of our equipping process.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think there's an age that should happen?
I mean, right now, I think I've probably mentioned this, but at our church, there's a student leadership program where students who are in the program will be mentored by an older believer in the church. Typically, they're like in their 20s.
The older believer,
to 40s.
Or okay.
Yeah, right. So, and this is a high school student.
High school student.
Well, actually, middle school as well. My middle school daughter, she's in 6th grade, and she has a mentor discipler that she's working with, and that mentor discipler is in her young 20s. Mm-hmm. But then my daughter, she has my older daughter has, I think her mentor's probably in her 40s, and then my 2 boys both have men that are in their mid 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and again, like I kind of, at least with the boys, it was a little bit easy for me to do. Had a hand in bringing those relationships together.
Okay.
I tried to. As much as I could. Some of it was natural. Some of it was me like making sure it happened. But they've been very intentional. You know, like if my boys are having a rough time, they'll give them a call. They'll go out for coffee. They'll speak into their life. You know, they'll listen well. So I think the sooner the better.
Yeah.
You know, especially if your kid already has a good foundation.
Right. And how would you suggest?
And let me say this also. I also try to hear from my kids what the conversation was about afterwards, just in case, you know, I need to like add something, or make sure they really understand, you know, what was said, or maybe even correct something.
Right. So it should not be a like, what is said here stays here type relationship.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think that as long as the kids are in your house, that mentor should understand that if anything is said that's concerning, it's their responsibility to let you know about that. And part of what's going to make that easier is if you have a good relationship with that person, which I do.
Yeah.
Especially with the men.
I think that's good. I was going to ask, how do you think that, well, it seems like with your kids in the church, there was a program in the church that was setting things up. And were you just like, okay, we want to participate? And then other people who said they want to participate and they just matched them up, or how did that actually go? So
the kids had a pool of mentors to choose from.
Okay.
Yes, they could sign up for the program. I want to become a better leader. You know, I want to serve more, and I just want to become a stronger Christian. You know, so they joined the program, but then they got to choose who their mentor was. So they would maybe give a list of 2 to 3 potential mentors, and then the youth pastors would couple them with that mentor. Does it make sense? Yeah. Ideally, their first mentor of choice.
So if the church is not involved in something like that, what would it look like? I'm just thinking, I know that I have been asked to speak to or
right.
You know, start a mentorship or whatever. Natural. But it wasn't natural. It was like someone that I don't really know very well, or what have you. And I'm in, you know, I kind of grew up in a white community or white society, and, you know, majority of my church is white. So if there's someone struggling that is African American or, you know, a black kid, it's like, oh man, Dwayne.
You would know best.
Yeah, Dwayne, and so I get asked that.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but, you know, occasionally, and it's like, I'm just not super comfortable just starting out of the blue.
Right. That's at that point, I feel like it's almost sending your kid cold turkey to a counselor.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So ideally, that kid already has some kind of relationship and respect for that individual, you know? So I think in my own life, with the community of Christians that we fellowship with on a consistent basis and that our kids are around, that would have been another option for them. Mm-hmm. There are other men in their life that they know care about them and that they like hanging around with, and that's part and parcel of it too. Like when I'm with my guy friends who are godly men, I don't try to keep my boys out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, occasionally, if we're talking about something that they really just shouldn't be a part of, but I try to involve them so that they feel a part, and that they're building these relationships with these other men. They're hearing what godly conversations look like. That would have been another option. I know that some of those men would have sat down with my boys and gone and got coffee and, listened to them and given them sound counsel.
Yeah. I have a friend.
Which means you need to be in community. I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
If you're an isolated man, or if your family is isolated from Christian community, you're really cutting yourself off from any opportunity for your kids to get mentoring outside of you.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I have a friend who, we had a men's Bible study regularly on a Wednesday night. And then there was several times where he wasn't there, and I would just ask him, and he was like, "Well, I was at a ball game of a student who had lost their father fairly recently, and I thought that was very, I don't know, that's a good way to kind of weave yourself in, is to start involving yourself in the things that they're involved with. So he would go and encourage him at his ball game, a soccer game, and so that's kind of what was on my mind. Like,
you can be creative.
You be creative in a way to start that. You don't just go in cold turkey and like, hey, I'd like to mentor you or whatever. Right. But just start a relationship type thing, and then do you want to grab some coffee or have breakfast or do something like that? My son Kyle also, he's 24 now, and he had spent some time with a couple of kids from the school that the school system that he was coaching in, and started doing that. So at age 24, same kind of concept as your church. I think this relationship started off a little bit with the not Campus Crusade. What's the high school equivalent for that? Young Life. And he met him through Young Life, and they were having some struggles, and he had spent time with them and just develop a relationship, and then inviting them to do fun things. So it's not just like over coffee, tell me your problems, I'll help you solve them. It's like, well, let's go out and throw a ball around, or go to the park, or do something. Let's go around, and there's a lot of different creative ways that you can start that and keep it going, where it's not, I don't know, doesn't feel like a forced and a obligation to, like, oh, I got to meet with this guy. Like you said, like a counseling session.
Right. But I don't really know you. You don't really know me. Yeah. But you want me to open up.
Right. That's or every time we talk, this is the only thing we talk about.
Yeah. That's good.
It should be.
Sometimes we just hang out. We're around each other, just having fun.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know. Just some advice. If you're
I think there's different degrees of mentors, too. Like, there's formal and informal mentors, right? I think, would you say that's fair to say?
Yeah.
I think my kid's small group leader, for example, would be maybe a small M mentor, right? It's nothing official, whatever, but they're a godly man speaking into their life on a regular basis, and that they have opportunity on a weekly basis just to ask questions to. They might not go super deep personally, but there's still mentoring taking place there versus a capital M mentor where it's like, okay, no, we're being intentional. This is what we're here to do.
Right. Yeah. And I think, if you're going that way, that I do have a lot of small M mentors that I can think of. A lot of my coaches that I had, when I was younger and in high school.
Youth pastors.
Yeah, youth pastors and things like that I respected. And, but, nothing super intentional.
I feel like actually, I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure that at one point I asked someone to be my mentor. And I think the answer was no.
Okay.
It wasn't a flat no. It was more like what you were saying. Like they just didn't know that they had the time, to invest in that, which again, that can be a legitimate answer.
Yeah.
But I did try to seek it out.
Right,
it just didn't work out. And I probably should have been more persistent in looking elsewhere, but.
I wonder also, like you said, there's some power in that. Maybe it was wise for him at that time to say no. There are times where you are dealing with something. There are times when you don't have the time, or you are working on, investing more time with your family or whatever. So I guess you can't be afraid to say no.
Right. Yeah.
If it's not the time. But I would, you would need to pray about it.
Yeah, right. You need to know your bandwidth. That's true. I think that's very fair.
Bandwidth.
But I think that I'm trying to keep up with the B words. Behoove. Yeah, so I just think that I don't remember what I was going to say. You need to be careful that you don't stretch yourself too thin, so that you become ineffective, across the board.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think the other thing I'm trying to do right now, this is more like not so much discussing the book today as much as just our lives. But
this was pretty much that chapter, we're talking about.
Yeah. The other thing I'm trying to be an intentional mentor right now myself. I have my boys, of course, we've talked a lot about that, where I'm trying to disciple them specifically in what it means to be a good man. And I hope to start doing that with my girls very soon. But every Sunday I have, I've invited 2 other boys into my group with my boys. They actually live in France. My voice keeps cracking today. They actually live in France. They're also brothers. They were here in the States this past year. So every Sunday afternoon we are meeting together with that same end in mind, mentoring you to become
like online,
the godly man that God created you to be. You specifically, right? Yeah, online via WhatsApp. Actually, we use Zoom this past time. I think it's what we're going to stick with. But either way, it's long distance. It's online, but they're all in the same room. They're all buddies. We're looking at the same screen, doing the same, analysis of different things. And, enjoying conversation together. So it's an ongoing relationship for them. They're going to come back this next summer as well. They're going to be going on a trip together. And so I'm really hoping it's going to become a very beautiful and effective thing.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to probably start seeking that out. Again, I got other issues right now that I'm trying to work through, but I would like to, be more intentional. And even if I am, because I have also been asked and have met with some young men, but generally it's been like a one-time thing,
right.
And I need to be more intentional to pursue and continue to meet with or to invest in. So
in a way, I think that there's different levels to mentoring. Not even as simple as the small M, big M. I think, as we said before, any man who's influencing you on a consistent basis, especially in a deep way, can be viewed as a mentor of such. My mentor could be dead. I can read a lot of C.S. Lewis books, and he can really mentor me through his words still. His words still live on to become better at A, B, or C, and podcasts today. There's a kind of small M mentor concept around what we're doing right here. Any man that might be listening, we're mentoring them indirectly, maybe, I don't know how you'd want to say it, to become a better dad, ultimately, and a better husband. And God willing, if we hope to get locals started up and start interacting, making it a possibility for supporters to have one-on-one interaction with us, or group interaction, but it's live, So that can be even upping that mentorship. It can open it up to new heights.
Yeah, right. Oh, I like it. If there's any men out there who have something to add, you can please put it in the chat. Make sure that you are looking for opportunities to mentor. Think about opportunities for those to seek you out and for you to seek others out. And if you are a dad, to make sure that you are maybe influencing or encouraging your kids to find someone other than you to also have some impact in their lives. So I think that's good advice that I gleaned from this chapter and from this conversation.
And maybe to give them some ideas to run off of and to encourage them to persevere, you know, if the first one or second one doesn't work out.
Right. Exactly. So anything else to add?
No, I think it's great advice.
Yeah. It's a little shorter podcast, but
it's all right.
30 minutes is good. With that, I guess we can sign off. Always remember. Till next week. Always remember that real dads lead.